it's illegal and you could get in trouble and you could get arrested or whatever, get a fine, a ticket. So there's health. There's a reason why the drink is unhealthy. Another one is, if you're younger, the law. And then another one is money. Is alcohol is expensive, and if I live a very frugal life, and I spend my money wisely, and alcohol is just not part of that budget. Why would I spend money on alcohol when I could buy something much more healthy for me to drink or eat? Right there, some people drink so much that they might spend $100 a month or more, maybe $500 a month. Some people, because they spend so much money. I mean, sometimes you go to these bars and you might get a shot glass for maybe like $6 just for a shot glass, and it's just crazy. So right there, another one is the money, where you are just basically throwing money away, when it has no purpose whatsoever to benefit you in any way, and then you just throwing it away. So that's another reason. All right. Another reason is, a major reason is it is a drug. Okay, alcohol is a drug. All right. And what it does is, if you drink a lot, you don't have to drink a lot. Even if you drink a little bit, it changes your mental state. All right. And what people get out of it, they call it a buzz, or they get high out of it, or they get drunk if they drink way too much. And what it does is it changes your mental state. And for many, what it could do is it ends up calming them, relaxing them. And people turn to alcohol as an outlet, as an escape, because they have so much mental stress, and say they think so much, and they're so worried, so much full of anxiety, to the point where they can't even express themselves freely. So there's a lot of mental clutter, mental pain that goes on inside the mind. And they drink alcohol, and then it takes it away momentarily, just for that temporary moment. And they grasp, they love that moment, they grasp that moment, because at that moment, their mind is more clear, and they're able to express themselves more. And that's what a big reason why a lot of people drink. All right. Now, to me, alcohol is like a false way of achieving a high state of, a high mental state and a high spiritual realm. Meaning, it's artificial. It's an artificial way to achieve liberation of the mind. And it only lasts for just temporarily. And you don't really have control of it in which to activate it whenever you want, because you're dependent on that stimulant. What it does is you become dependent on that drug to achieve a certain level of liberation from the mind. What I mean by liberation of the mind is basically free from the ego. Okay, you notice that a lot of people that drink might be very apprehensive. They might have a hard time expressing themselves. They go to the club and they won't dance. They don't really talk, and they're just very shy and unexpressive, just full of anxiety. And then when they drink, all of a sudden they start dancing everywhere, start talking a lot, and being expressive. And what it is the drug artificially took that ego out of their mind for that time being, in order for them to let themselves go and express themselves. Alright? Now, part of the mental spiritual training in the martial arts, and in Eastern philosophy specifically, is to teach you to grasp the hold of this ego and understand it, and not be a slave to it anymore. Where you will identify the ego, have control over the ego, master the ego, and not allow it to be a master over you. So meaning, you will be coming to the point where you can express yourself and be yourself without having to be dependent on any type of drug, because you've reached a high state of mental state and spiritual realm into which you can express yourself. Like if you want to dance, you'll dance. You know, you don't have that fear. You don't have, you know, you're not embarrassed. You know, you're not thinking about, well, what is everybody around me thinking? You just do it, and that's what takes time to develop to that point. But once you get to that point, I mean, it takes hard work. Once you get to that point, it's almost like you're free, and you don't really need any drug to stimulate it. You know, it's just you get that freedom, you know, to just be yourself. And I think a lot of times people turn to alcohol as an easy way out. And the way that I want to compare it, which is kind of similar, is like say you want to get muscular. You have to work out. If you want to get it the natural way and you want to be healthy, you're gonna work out, lift weights, do calisthenics, and work out hard. And maybe after a while, you're gonna get the muscles that you want to get after you work hard. All right, and then you'll get confidence and all that stuff, where it comes along with the hard work that you've done and the muscular development and stuff like that. But then there's people who do it artificially. You know, people that might inject steroids in themselves or other type of stimulants to try to get the muscles. They doing it artificially. That's not real. All right, that can only last for so long, and then they become dependent on that drug in order to get to the goal of where they want to be. Now, alcohol is the same way. There's a high state, a mental state, a higher realm, you know, a spiritual realm, where you could reach, where you're not controlled by the ego, where you're the master over the ego. Okay, so once you got to train your mental state, understand your mental state. In order to reach that, it takes work. It doesn't just come out of nowhere. It takes some work. It takes some education. It takes, you know, like a understanding, and it might take years, a few years. I don't know. For some people, it might happen immediately, and that's what Zen is called. If you study Zen, that's what it teaches you to do. It's basically to achieve that mental state just like that. You don't even have to work hard towards it. It's just something that it just pops open. I mean, it's just like a light switch that just turns on. That's Zen. But then there's other ways where you can build up to it. So for different people, it works in different ways. But what I'm basically saying is that mental state is something that is full of bliss and joy, of where there is no mental clutter and there is no depression. There's just pure like peace, and people, they want that mental state, and they don't want to work hard towards it. They don't want to understand the mind, so then they take the easy way out. They'll drink alcohol to try to achieve that mental state, just for a little time period, or they take some other drug, no matter if it's cocaine or heroin or whatever, to get to that mental state. And it's like, you know, that's the problem with society, is that they have so much clutter going on in the mind. They have so much sadness and depression and whatever, that they resort to these drugs to try to get away from that. But that's not gonna make it go away. It's just suppressing it for the time being, and then it's just gonna come back around, maybe even 10 times worse, after the drug is out of their system. So that's what I mean when you train yourself mentally, you train yourself spiritually. You will take yourself to higher realms without needing to be dependent on any drug. And if I compare it back to the physical, it's something that takes work, and it's the natural way to do it. And because it's natural, it's not unhealthy. It's actually healthy, and you will end up finding much more peace in your mind and in everything around you by training you in that way. Okay, so that's another reason why I don't drink. I don't want to be dependent on any drug for my happiness. I want to create that happiness from within. It should be fully under my control, without the need of any drug.